All right, level 3 is computing the surface area and volume of any prism. So in level 1, we did rectangular prisms. In level 2, we did cylinders. In level 3, this is any prism. So prism is anything that has the same base. So if you look at number 5, the bases of this are the shape that is the same on either end. So you can see that I've got two triangles that are the exact same on either end. This is why we call this a triangular prism, because we name it by the base. In order to find the volume of the prism, you're going to take the same thing that I told you in the cylinders. You take the area of the base times the height. Okay, so I note that as the big B times the H. Okay, or area of the base times the height. Okay, in this case, our base, again, is the shape that repeats exactly the same. So you can probably see that you've got a couple rectangles also. Those are the faces. Those are not the bases because they're not the exact same dimensions. One is the 11 by 4, one is 11 by 3, and then one is 11 by something. We don't know what that is. So those are why the rectangles aren't the bases. These are why the triangles are faces, because the length and the width of the triangle are 4 and 3. That stays consistent. Okay, so if we want to determine the surface area, we want to find the area of the two triangles. So I've got one triangle and I've got another triangle. Now you could just find the area of one triangle and multiply it by 2. That's fine. But I'm just going to do it separately. So 1/2 4 times 3. It's going to be 6. And same thing for the second one. Okay, the second part is rectangles. So you can see we've got this one on the bottom. That one's going to be 4 by 11. So that's going to get me 44. The one on the back here, this side is 11 back here too, and the height's 3. So this like back wall here is 3 times 11 to get us 33. And then the top one, to kind of finish it all off, this top length, I know that this is 11, but I don't know this length here. Well, if we've got a right triangle, we can, and two of the side lengths we know, we can find that third length by the Pythagorean theorem. So just go ahead and do that real quick. So 3 squared plus 4 squared equals c squared. This is going to be 9 plus 16. Let's see. C will equal 5. So if I have C to equal 5, that rectangle is going to be 11 by 5. So go ahead and go down and add one more rectangle in here. So if I add all of these up, six plus 6 plus 44 plus 33 plus 55 is going to give us 144. So our surface area is 144 centimeters squared. And then, okay, so our volume then, again, our volume is the area of the base times the height. In this case, our bases are right triangles. So I'm going to take the area of one base, which was 6, and then multiply by the height, which is 11. The height is always the distance from base to base. Whoops, not difference, distance. Sorry. From base to base is the height. Okay, so volume is 6 times 11, or 66. So volume is 66 centimeters cubed. All right, let's take a look at another one. All right, in this one, the second problem, the second part of level 3 is finding the surface area and volume of a cone. So think about you're eating ice cream. This cone is just tipped upside down. So the circle part is flat against the ground. And we've got the surface area and the volume formulas in this box over here. Just define a couple things. You know what the radius is. That's the half the distance of the circle. The height is always from the point of the cone to the center of the base or the circle. And then this S right here, this is what we call slant height. It's not the perpendicular height, okay? So height on the inside is always perpendicular. Slant height is always on the outside. It's on a slant. Hopefully we can remember that. That's labeled as S. Okay. All right. So let's go ahead and take a look at the surface area here. So surface area, we need pi, the radius, and the slant height. So we don't need the actual height, which is good because in our picture we don't have that. So surface area equals pi. So I'm just going to actually, radius is the 6, height I don't know, but the slant height is 10. Okay, so surface area is pi times 6 times 10 plus pi times 6 squared. Okay, so we'll get 60 pi plus 36 pi, and I can add those two together to get 96 pi. And since it's surface area, it's going to be inches squared. Okay, so that's surface area. Now volume I'm going to need to know this height here. So if you look at the figure, you always have a nice right triangle anywhere in this cone that's comprised of the radius, the height, and the slant height. So again, you're going to come up with the Pythagorean theorem, and this time you're going to find the leg. So I have 6 squared plus b squared equals 10 squared. And if you work your way through this, you'll get b to equal 8. So now that I know the height, which is 8, now I can just go ahead and substitute into my formula for the volume. So volume is going to be 1/3 pi, the radius, which is 6 squared, times the height. That's why it's h and not s, so I'm going to use 8 instead of 10. Okay, so this can get a little tricky with the 1/3 and leaving it in exact form, but you're just going to treat the 1/3 just like you would a number. So I'm going to just take 1/3 pi times 36 times 8, and so I'm going to just put in your calculator 36 times 8 times 1/3, or you can do 36 times 8 or divided by 3. Either way, you should come out to be 96 pi. And then volume is always cubed, so 96 pi inches cubed. Now it's the same number in terms of the answer, but it's not really the same value because one is cubed and one is squared. This will not always happen where you have the same number, just a coincidence for this one.